Well, Marguerite loved poetry, and we first met through poetry. And I, who was not often touched by poetry, when I read this poem of hers, I was really struck by it so much that I wanted to set it to music. And I did. And as a lot of my music tends to have Celtic overtones, because I've done a lot of Irish music over the years. So it turned into this kind of a ballad, simple Celtic kind of thing. And I sent it back to her in an email. I had just learned how to send recordings in email, MP3 files. So I sent it to her, and she loved it. And we said, we have to meet. And here is what that song was. And it says a lot about Marguerite. And kind of a relationship that she was looking for. Because she'd been disappointed. She'd had lots of really passionate relationships. But as is often the case with relationships, there's little things that creep in and go wrong. And so this talks about that. And it's called Arms of Love. Romantic love seems as real my love moon in full, but gradually imperceptibly gives way to the cold reality of the dawn, with its work to do and bills to pay, and the subtle disappointments of the day. My heart holds all the romantic dreams of the hopeful girl, breathlessly waiting for our life to begin and love to blossom, and the prince to beckon me come away. But how can passion shadow night pass through the blinding light of dawn? For love to endure, must it never be attained? Once captured, fade into the mundane. We must listen to the dreams of our hearts, and forevermore live to dance and sing, to adventure out onto the unknown, on creative paths from which we spring, treasuring every moment together, as we did at one of love's first day, opening our hearts to love's sweet pleasure, being always present to laugh and play, with youthful spirits and spontaneous songs, and prayers of thanksgiving unto the beloved, in peace and repose upon timeless slumber, and winding again into the arms of love, and winding into the arms of love. And there was things about her poetry that just really appealed to me. It seems like it was often just funny things, like the same kinds of words would appeal to us. And I've been getting much more interested in poetry since being with her and her passing. She loved Rumi. There's the poem of Rumi's, one that she really loved, called The Love Dogs. One night a man was crying, Allah, Allah. His lips grew sweet with praising until a cynical side said, so, I've heard you calling out, but have you ever gotten any response? The man had no answer to that. He quit praying and fell into a confused sleep. He dreamed he saw Kidri, the guide of souls, in the thick green foliage. Why did you stop praising? Because I never heard anything back. This longing you express is the return message. The grief you cry out from draws you toward union. Your pure sadness that once helped is the secret cup. Listen to the moan of a dog for its master. That whining is the connection. There are love dogs no one knows the name of. Give your life to be one of them. So if you're familiar with the story of Rumi, there was this fellow named Sham who at one point asked him a question. Everyone was very spiritual, and this question just blew his mind. They say he fell off the horse he was riding, and he just became the devotee of this Sham. He became his guru. And they would spend hours together just in bliss and holding hands. And Rumi's other students didn't like that. They got jealous and they would wish Sham was gone. Or sometimes Sham would take off because he was aware of that. And one time Sham said, "It's time for me to die." Walked out. And that was the last that Rumi saw of him, and it's supposed that one of Rumi's students murdered him, killed him. But so in all of Rumi's poems, there's this longing that's expressed for to see Sham, to be with Sham. It's the relationship between a disciple and a master, a guru. And it has this kind of romantic side to it too. You know, I think that in Reedy's mind, there was a connection there. It was all one, and this longing for union with God, and she felt really strongly, was, and she wanted to find it in life too, in relationship. She wrote one poem in 90. My heart cries out to the universe, "Send me my love. Make him strong and wise, a true seeker, a shaker, a mover, a manifester of dreams. Make him my equal, and let us learn from each other. Make him gentle and romantic, my tender Venus, powerful and forceful, with my burning Scorpio. Make him tender-hearted and strong-minded, a priest, a healer, a true mystic. May our forces join together in creation of a healing temple of mind, body, and spirit. And let us be nurtured by our loving, extended family and community, where we can truly rest and play in safety and in spirit. May our communication be clear, gentle, and conscious. And when buttons are pushed, let us be patient and compassionate, embarking together on a journey to wholeness. May our joining nurture, support, heal, and stimulate us to grow even beyond our images of what could be. And may we play and laugh and dance and sing and make wonderful love together. May our home be warm and inviting, a gathering place for all who are dear to us. And above all, may we share a great love. She wrote that in 98. And along with Rumi, there was another poet that was really a favorite, one of the greatest poets of Iran, Persia, those days. And these were all Rumi, Hafiz, these were reputed to be God-realized beings, poets. There's one here that she set to music. Which I carefully marked. The subject tonight is love, is the name of this book, and one poem that's in here, Hafiz wrote, says, the subject tonight is love. and for tomorrow night as well. As a matter of fact, I know of no better topic for us to discuss till we all die. Oh yeah, here, the day sky. So she had worked this out for us to sing kind of like call and response with some harmonies. And she was very particular when she had a musical sense. She wanted it to be just like she intended. So this won't be like that, because it's just going to be me. But you can imagine the echoes coming in. Let us be like two falling stars in the day sky. Let no one know of our sublime beauty as we hold hands with God and burn into a sacred existence that defies, that surpasses every description of ecstasy and love. Now there's this one, I had quite a few here that she loved, but there's this one I thought I'd definitely want to share with you right now. Let's see. Yeah, wow. Another one, before I find that one that I'm looking for. It happens all the time in heaven. It happens all the time in heaven, and someday it will begin to happen again on earth. That men and women who are married, and men who are lovers, and women who give each other light, often will get down on their knees, and while so tenderly holding their lover's hand, with tears in their eyes, will sincerely speak, saying, "My dear, how can I be more loving to you? How can I be more kind?" Okay, this next one, when I find it here, is going to give you another taste of who Marguerite was. Where is it? Well, this one doesn't bear skipping over. The size of a love bruise. The gauge of a good poem is the size of the love bruise it leaves on your neck. Or the size of the love bruise you can paint on your brain. Or the size of the love bruise you can weave into your soul. Or indeed, could be all of the above. Okay, here. That sounds wonderful. Good poetry makes a beautiful naked woman materialize from words, who then says, with a sword precariously waving in her hands, "If you look at my loins, I will cut off your head and reach down and grab your spirit by its private parts and carry you off to heaven, squealing in joy." Hafiz says, that sounds wonderful, just wonderful. Someone please, start writing some great lines. So one of the ways that I was exposed to the way that Marguerite just loved poetry is the connection with her friend, Cher, Christian. was here with us today, and it's part of the origins and birth of this gathering, because I wasn't sure how it was going to come together, and I wasn't sure if people would be able to make it all this way down the coast, if this was the right place to do it. And when Cher wrote, "Let us know when the memorial will be and we'll try to come down," I said, "Cher, if you can come down, that's the day we're going to make this for." And so that's how this day originated. Cher and husband John came down. And whenever Marguerite met with Cher, she would avail of Cher of her poetry, the book called Divining Poetry, which is something like the I Ching or the Tarot or something, and you look into your questions, your universe, what you want, and you either open up the book or you pick a number. And Marguerite loved to do that with Cher, whenever we saw Cher. So I want to invite Cher now to share with some of us some of her poetry. There was one poem as we stopped off on the way down, because Marguerite loves Big Sur so much, and we sprinkled some of her ashes in one place and overlooking some cliffs in Big Sur. And Cher opened up the book to this poem, which just blew my mind. And I'm going to ask her to recite it at the end, when we sprinkle a few more ashes.
So Marguerite was just so wonderful the way she received my poetry. It was really a blessing. Here's one that she really particularly loved that I wrote in 2006. What if you knew that Goddess says yes to the fierce longing of your heart, only asks that you turn toward your flaming, hold out your arms like wings, and receive? Would you still be afraid of your lucent fire? Strive away from yourself. Turn your back on the shimmering promise of what you love. This one I wrote for Marguerite.
Should I chair, Cher?
Oh, okay. I'm standing.
Do you want me to need anything?
Right. Marguerite, a garden of fragrant flowers, a glorious shooting star, a lovely Hawaiian goddess, a heart overflowing with love, a joyous song, healer of children, a beloved sister, lover, friend, graced us with her passion and enthusiasm for life. No more lessons to learn. Return to heavenly realms. Marguerite leaves us blessed and bereft with the loss of her beautiful being. She lives on in our hearts. And this one is it's from my book. I have it marked. It's called Spirit's Flight. Did you notice the vulture flying slowly by when David was speaking? Death can come on padded feet, despite our fierce protests. embrace a loved one, and take her to another world of flight and imagination where the body cannot go. We sense her becoming one with all things, flying with the ethereality of wind, while we are still anchored in this place of solid form, wondrous evidence of spirit. We look for her in earthly terms, a ladybug, a butterfly, a brush of feeling that tells us she is near. Her sweet self still appears in our minds, so part of us will not believe that the person we saw and held so many times, talked to short days ago, is gone. Marguerite was such a vibrant presence in our lives that we hoped her Shakti would keep her here. If not her tenacity, the power of our love and future plans would tether her to this world where we could touch and dance, pour out our hearts in long talks, look into her eyes and hear her precious laugh. The rest of our days we must be content with moments that no longer contain her beloved physical being. For the sake of her life and life, we keep her in our hearts, embrace her spirit to express more love, embody her passion through exuberant delight in living, and let her go for now.
Marguerite most definitely would have wanted us to celebrate. She never missed a celebration. She would make the most of things, whether it was Halloween, Christmas, birthdays. I will be carrying the torch for her, lighting a candle for her every day for the rest of my life. A sweet soul, my baby. I loved holding you, hugging you. I loved just going shopping with you. It was the greatest thing. We so respected each other. You thought I was amazing with my flute and whistles. I thought you were amazing writing songs, spontaneously coming up with harmonies. You heard harmonies I couldn't even hear. You were so inspired by beautiful songs that you loved, just like me. The ability to play the guitar and sing at an absolutely professional level could have been, was in fact, another livelihood of yours, as well as a hobby. You're successful because you're so good, even though you didn't give it your primary focus. You wrote melodies and songs, you wrote melodies of Buddhist prayers and mantras that I taught you in a way that was so profound, ancient, Eastern. I knew that I had a very precious composer in you, and I always wanted to protect and take care of you. You were an archive of knowledge of songs, their words. You'd recognize a song even before they started singing it. Trailing your older sister, Therese, you heard all the popular music and learned it at a very young age and loved it. And a lot of it happened to be the same music that I really loved. It was one of the unbelievable connections between us. We had similar musical tastes. We always said we were split aparts. Marguerite was convinced of the validity of some research showing that there was more connection between the right and left hemispheres of the brain in women than in men. So when I knew what she was thinking, I was hitching a ride on her superhighway. And when she picked up my thoughts, she was taking a detour on my rough dirt road. We had many connections that went deeper than anything I'd ever experienced before. For example, she was talking about an Irish melody that she'd heard a long time ago. She'd never known the name of it, and then the story of how she finally heard it again and figured out what the name of it was, and I'm picking up my flute and saying, oh yeah. And we both started playing it together at the same moment. Her humming it, me playing it, on this very same pitch, out of the ethers, you know. So yeah, that tune, I've loved playing that tune for decades, The Women of Ireland. And we both heard it in that movie, Barry Lyndon. She was so impressed the first time she heard that I knew Shady Grove. It was one of my favorite tunes to play on the fiddle and the harmonica. She loved having sung with the folk club at the college in West Virginia, where they trade off singing verses. And it was there that she first of all sang solo with her guitar and just brought the house down. The first time she realized that she had this kind of talent and power in her music. So we loved singing Shady Grove together. We had so much music we could do together, unlimited, which is one of the most painful things for me, losing her. When I saw a video of her for the first time in her 40s playing a guitar, singing for her brother's wedding, the minister hadn't wanted her to play because I could see why. Her singing just took over the whole service. The minister himself was pretty boring, kind of ordinary. But when she sang, her voice was so huge, without any amplification, it just completely filled that room. She was trying not to get emotional at her brother's wedding, so she was kind of keeping a straight face and paying attention to making sure she got everything right. The movement of the chords was so perfect, her voice coinciding with it. The guitar style was always finger picking. She had these long fingernails that were strong. And they were her finger picks for the guitar. That's how she would play the guitar. She knew so much music, archive of popular music through the decades. Plus, she was this goddess who didn't realize how beautiful she was. And that was the kind of music that I loved most. So at the very end, she finally smiled. And I do have a video of that. So maybe see if I can bring that up real quickly. I think this is it. I'll hold it up so I can see it a little better. Oh, no. That's okay. And that was what I wanted to show you, where she smiled. Okay, so where is this? Okay, scratch that for now. Not finding it. There's a number of people that couldn't make it today, and I asked them if they could send in something they would like to say, and I've got a few things like that. There's one good friend of hers who came a number of times when she was sick, named Suzanne Dove. She lives up in the Bay Area. And Marguerite had been her mentor. She'd been an intern with Marguerite to become a therapist. And she had fallen behind on all of the details that she needed to be taken care of to become a therapist. You have to log your hours of what you've done. And I don't know all the details of it. And she was ready to give up. And Marguerite said to her, no, come on, let's do this. And she helped her figure out all of these hours that she needed in order to become. So Suzanne couldn't be here today, but she did write something, and I'll read it from her. Our Reedy Goddess. On this day that children's march for the earth. There's a lot of things going on today. It's the equinox. Another good friend has said that there's a big cleanup going up in the Bay Area where people are cleaning up the beach. Anyone let us know about that too. But Suzanne wrote, on this day of the children's march for the earth, there is a presence, a special luminous star, now in the heavens, brilliant in light, and palpably here on earth with us. Do you feel it? With us, like a huge hug, boundless, radiant, the starlit, fierce, loving heart that shines and touches us here. Do you feel it? Do you hear it? Her songs still resounding in roomy poems that echo within us from her, or in David and Marguerite's songs and chants, like eternal Tibetan prayer flags, endlessly live and linger in our consciousness now. And her songs to her children as well, creatively sung to bring hope and love to countless beings. She championed them with a fierce, loving heart and mind, and her spirit today is ecstatically in the street with them around the world in harmony and unity and living grace. In spontaneous songs filled with beauty and joy and love, and right on the mark of what their souls needed to hear and know. The presence in her fiercely strong healing therapy work was truly her heart work with her countless children, embraced and renewed to hope and life by her boundless joy and love and presence, awakened to their own souls, eternal light. Her courageous championing of children is today mirrored in the streets by courageous children who fiercely and courageously march and sing and speak up, as she did for so many of them, voicing their truth. Her spirit today sings in boundless joy for them and with the earth, spread to eternity like the sand of the mandala of geranium flowers that gently, lovingly held her in her last earthly gathering, a liberating embrace. Do you see it? Her long arms and legs still dancing and moving, now freed in the universal ground, being unencumbered by car accidents or limits. Do you? Her immense joy and spirit, that fierce, radiant, loving heart of the goddess, our Reedy. So that inspires me to ask Miriam and Kira to come up and share a little bit. I'm sort of hoping that by all of us coming together and bringing these memories together, we can bring her back right here, right now. Or at least as my muse forever.
Marguerite was very special to our family. She was our therapist for all of the people in our family. And she taught us how to love ourselves and that we were lovable and valuable. So she was really important to us. And I totally agree with everything that everybody's saying about how she was like, she like was the embodiment of love and light, kind of. So, do you have anything to say?
He was awesome. He was very nice and sweet. He was very musical. She liked art. She was very arty.
Artistic.
Yeah.
We loved her.
She's like
Yeah, she was like a family member. You're welcome.
Dr. Donaldson, could you try to bring yourself to be able to say a few words?
I'd be honored to. So I'm John Donaldson. I knew Marguerite from our work together with children and Shar, who mentioned how she was a healer of children, and that's absolutely correct. I've never seen anybody with the skill and talent that she had, and whether it was God-given or learned, I don't know, but she had this ability to touch people, touch young people, and in ways that nobody else could. When there were children that no one could get to, she was always able to do that. And she was always positive and energetic. And is that correct? Yeah. Just a wonderful person. And it made you want to be a better person being around her. Right? I don't know really what to do anymore because she was so much better than everybody else I've ever seen. I trained starting in Texas and then Louisiana and California, and she was the best by far. So it's tough.
Dr. Donaldson is the psychiatrist. Margaret is very, very much loved working with, and had the most admiration for his understanding of, for instance, how a child can only take a little bit of that medicine, not just the dose that they're trying to give them. Along with Dr. Bouchard, and she loved to.
Yeah, the three of us were a great team. But it's really because she was able to provide things that Dr. Bouchard was also a very gifted therapist, and unbelievable in certain ways. But Marguerite's had that missing je ne sais quoi. Just a wonderful person. So I'm very honored to be here today. I'm so glad to see all of you that also loved her. So one thing I want to impart is that how much she loved you and how much you added to her life. And when she would tell me these things about you and meeting you, it was a godsend. You really were. And I'm sure to you as well. So thank you very much.
Strangers. But that's what I very much appreciate. That's what the methods that Buddha has given help us to develop a seed of love that's already present within us. And this is a quality that I aspire to meditate every day. The Tibetan name that my first Tibetan master gave me when I became a Buddhist was Jampa, which is the Tibetan for the Pali and Sanskrit Maitri, and Maitreya, which means love. And the second name is Tarchen, gone to the end, so gone to the end of love. This is what I aspire to. Marguerite, she already had the essence of it. I always paid homage to that in her, and even more so now, every day. I feel like she's my teacher of love. And she'd always want to give a protein bar or sandwich to people panhandling on the street, which I rejoiced in. I like to do that too. I had learned from my first Tibetan Lama about always giving something to someone who has a cup out. And I love doing that. And when it's done with good motivation, it becomes limitless. It becomes limitless goodness, as an Indian master, Nagarjuna, said. Through generosity comes wealth. From good ethics, happiness. From patience comes beauty. From perseverance, magnificence. From concentration, peace. From wisdom, freedom. Marguerite loved Buddha, and she loved all religions. She called herself always interfaith. She loved everyone, and she loved all their philosophies and religions. It sometimes led to pain for her, this big heart. When she couldn't help a child that she loved who was suffering, she just had to courageously go through her feelings because she was such a deep feeling person. She wasn't afraid of feelings. She helped others feel their feelings and go through them. It was her specialty, her vocation. She trained as a social worker, but eventually took it into her work as a therapist. She'd done a thesis on special needs adoption and immediately took it into action, helping Vietnamese orphans find families. When she got her license as a therapist, it was with an oral exam in cognitive behavioral therapy, which wasn't in vogue at that time, but she took it out and was usually successful with it. And throughout her life, she kept learning, gathering more modalities for helping children and adults, collecting her resources that she would use. For like work with the sand tray therapy, if you've ever heard of it. There's a book here written about sand tray therapy if you'd like to learn more about it. But she was always collecting, puppets and things to use in it. And yes, you had a wish. A wish is my command. We always used to say in that Magnolia movie, your command is my wish. But whenever we came across stuffed animals, she'd pick them up and we'd start playing with them. She's attended some teachings that I gave on mind training, and we enjoyed that. She would write songs about what she learned. That's what she always tended to do. She did some training with the New Thought kind of churches, and she was telling me about one song that she'd written one time that sort of encapsulated everything that they'd learned, everything they taught, all in one song. One time I was teaching about the symbolism of the king of mantras called Om Hum. And where Om symbolizes the body of the Buddha, the speech, and Hum, the mind. And she wrote this little ditty to encapsulate it. And I can ask you to recite the mantra like this. Go, Om, Om, Om. There's some twist at the end, I'm not sure, I won't get it right. We'll just do it like this. So you guys chant that, and then I'll sing this little thing that you wrote over to express what I've been talking about. Okay. Bodies of Buddha, speech of enlightenment, love everlasting, omniscient mind. Bodies of Buddha, speech of enlightenment, love everlasting, omniscient mind. She appreciated that I respected her spiritual path, which I completely saw in her work and her inner work that she was doing with herself. And she found it a precious opportunity to learn Buddhism from me, and she was really well attuned for it. Sometimes she called herself a grasshopper, like a total beginner, but other times she would spontaneously express the very essence of the teachings, and I'd say, well, you're already the great mother yourself. And I have many song and chant practices that she wrote that I'll always be able to sing and remember her as I take my vows, and I can always dedicate that to her. So one of the practices that I introduced her to was that of the goddess Saraswati, whose worship is common to both Hinduism and Buddhism. And she had such an affinity for her that I gave her the name Yangshan Lamo, which is the Tibetan for Saraswati, goddess. And she'd always called herself Riti goddess. So I added the name Saraswati. So she loved mantra chanting, the Pramal, teachings of Ramdas. She opened an event for Ramdas one time, and he called for an encore. So Saraswati is the goddess of the wisdoms of teaching, of dialectics, of knowledge, of ultimate, and especially of music and dance and composition. She was an embodiment of Saraswati that I felt, a magnificent, multifaceted goddess. She had a very fine musical sensitivity, and she could direct and teach ensembles of vocalists, even though she had no formal training in music theory, couldn't read music. She incorporated music into her healing with children, loved to do family bonding workshops. So, this is what Saraswati is often depicted as. She'll be carrying a lute, playing a lute, and often riding on a swan. This was one block print that I really loved and gave to her. Another statue of Saraswati in wood here. So, I'd like to ask you to come up, John.
Mm-hmm.
There's this song that I wrote called the Saraswati Song. And it's taken on deeper meaning now that she's gone. And the melody, this melody is a traditional Irish melody, but I wrote words for it. Wrote the words for it. Marguerite's passing has really impressed upon me this awareness that with the passing of a person, there's the whole world that ceases to exist, with them. All the things she knew, which are part of her awareness, subjects of music, melodies, the words of songs, not to mention her expertise and knowledge and healing. Her voice was transcendent, it soared. In her prime, she'd sing very high. She surprised her father once, who knew music very well. He was a national champion in barbershop quartet singer, which is where she picked up her fine sense of harmony. And one time he said, "Oh, that was a high B flat. You sang a high B flat." So she loved her father tremendously, sang the leader of the band for him. She learned old songs sitting beside him on the piano bench. She was the only one of the kids who was really interested in music. So, although her niece and nephew and sister were all quite musical, none of the brothers. But she wanted to learn it all. She did learn to play a lot of piano. So since Marguerite's world happened to be my world, or split aparts, a lot of my world has disappeared. We shared everything. No longer have my partner who would swing me to dance, harmonize with my voice whenever I sing. It was best when she was just spontaneously came up with harmonies. There was one time I said, "I want to sing this song, Bright Morning Stars," for some friends, and she never tried it with me, but she sang this beautiful harmony. It sounded just like somebody coming right out of the Appalachian Mountains. So for those of us who believe that death is a transcendence to a heaven for someone as beautiful and good as Marguerite, she most certainly was. She could be naughty and mischievous, but she didn't have a bad bone in her body. In our Buddhist view, she or anyone who's progressing on a spiritual path will continue to ascend, whether it's in the heaven or in the human realm, and eventually realize the state of her own divinity. And in fact, Buddha said, "No one but someone like me can really take the measure of another person." So I think, and this is me now talking, in actuality, in my view, Marguerite was a goddess, manifesting here on our earth, out of compassion for living beings. And there was another interesting connection there in this development of heart and love and compassion. She'd gone to a spiritual workshop for couples. A long time ago, she dragged this partner of hers who wasn't that interested in it. He'd had a painful betrayal by his former wife, always telling him that she wanted kids, while behind the scenes she was always taking birth control. But in this workshop, then she heard about a practice that in Tibetan is called Tonglen, which means giving and taking. Giving happiness with love, and taking suffering with compassion for others. So it's a practice in which basically you exchange your own happiness for the suffering of others. It's a highly advanced practice. And she was impressed in hearing about how it had helped the Dalai Lama to deal with the invasion of Tibet by the Chinese. So she says, you've heard this practice, Tonglen? I go, yeah, I'm teaching it over at my friend Ken's house. It's mind training. Do you have anything you'd like to say, Ken? Would you like to say anything? Okay. It's that practice among different Buddhist practices. It's considered an advanced level, and it's just very practical, and it's very. It takes the the material that's available in our world, which is often kind of painful, obstructive, and transforms it into positive things for the spiritual path. And it was just always what excited me the most. And so to find that this was something that we both really loved and connected with. There's one particular formulation of it that's called 8 Verses of Mind Training. And she loved that poem, these 8 verses. I've got a copy of it up here. And one time we went to the land of Medicine Buddha, which is a Buddhist center right near Santa Cruz, in which they arranged a path with one of these verses at the different stations. And you go and read a verse, and you go on to the next. You walk for a while, you can contemplate what was said in that verse, and go on to the next verse. And we had great fun doing that. It was kind of a rainy, drizzling day. We went with the Tibetan Lama, who was local in the Pacific Grove, Kartan Rinpoche. He was having such a good time skipping down these muddy paths, and she loved it. She really enjoyed that outing in the land of Medicine Buddha. And when she did do that workshop with her partner, and his partner, in focusing on the meditation, focused on his previous wife who betrayed him, and tears were pouring down his face. It was kept secret for a long time as being a very advanced level of practice, which was thought maybe nobody would be able to understand. What do you mean, give the victory to others, take defeat upon yourself? But eventually, as it started to leak out, people who hadn't seemed to have any kind of spiritual inclinations were suddenly becoming spiritual, and then people who had serious illnesses like leprosy were curing themselves of it with this practice. Because you just so completely give yourself over to it, taking on, it's a Christ-like kind of meditation where you just take on all the suffering of the world and the causes of it, and give love. And it's so purifying to your karma, it's probably why it had such an amazing effect for people. So they started to bring it out into more mainstream, people could learn it. So when we do this meditation, it can have a number of steps, and 10 or 11 steps. I've formulated into one formula I love to do. But again, Marguerite just had it. The utter compassion and love she felt for the children and the adults, for those she served. I told her that while we were dealing with the theory behind it, why beings are suffering in our Buddhist meditations, she was out there on the front lines dealing with it. Where, with people that have been sexually abused, have been ritually abused. She dealt with things that I couldn't bear to think about, much less be dealing with. But she worked to heal this cycle of suffering, put an end to this cycle of suffering. And one of our strengths was our ability to express to each other what we felt about it. And I bowed to her. I expressed my homage to her heart. That this is what I aspire to. And that, coupled with her being a person for whom I would most wish to relieve all suffering and bring all happiness, she inspires that in me so much that she is now my gurus and my teachers in this practice, and I really feel that. I taught her to say mantras like Om Mani Padme Hum, which embodies this love and compassion in the form of sound. We would say it as a blessing for animals, and we'd see deer. One time, this is a prayer wheel I made before the Om Mani Padme Hum. One time she went out onto her patio, and there was a salamander lying there, and it really looked dead. So she, said the Om Mani Padme Hum mantra once over it. Salamander goes, turned over, looked up at her. had a communion right there. And who knows, I mean, maybe she did bring him back to life. That said be one of the abilities of a highly qualified yogi, like Siddha, Mahasiddha. Because if you can bring corpses back to life, then you can act crazy, and it's fine. Because nothing you do is going to be creating bad karma from that point on. And Marguerite was the epitome of loyalty. She helped me tremendously through the death of my late wife and its aftermath. She was a lioness of support. She would be a great champion. And it was my great honor to serve and support her in the years we were together, and especially when she was having this challenge of this illness. Marguerite's laughter was so complete. When she laughed, she felt it so deeply. It was an innocent laugh. It was hilarious. There was no holding back at all. And we had a lot of crazy inside jokes that we went wild with between us. Some too escaped to mention. But she was not approved, and that in spite of the rigid, guilt-inspiring, non-existent sex education she had from her conservative, almost priest and nun, Catholic parents. She'd say, "Right, Ma, it's better that I just learn it in the gutter, like everyone else, you know." So she was ecstatic to be able to educate girls about the wonder of their bodies, like she had never learned in her early years. In fact, her mother had kind of snapped when she was 13. None of her mother's children had become the devout Catholics that her mother hoped they would. And when it finally became clear that Marguerite wasn't into it either, then she kind of gave up. She said, "I'm through raising kids," and threw Marguerite out. This was when she was about 13. So, luckily she'd received really nurturing love up to that point from her mother. But at that point, she was really thrown out of the nest. And with these groups, and she was being very naughty. She was going to church groups that her mother didn't approve of, right? But with these people, she found a really personal connection and personal kind of spirituality. And what she found at that time was love of God and love of Jesus. And that's what kept her through, got her through this time. And her mother's conservative views went even farther. She was a member of the John Birch Society and disapproved of those commie subjects that Marguerite wanted to study in school. She had been bored in regular school, but when it was university time, you could choose your subjects. She got really excited about that and wanted to learn about other cultures. But her mother always threatened her, "We're not going to pay for this. You're going to have to put down those books." Wouldn't even help her to get a driver's license to make it to school. So she really had to struggle. And it was hard at one point. At one point there was a counselor who told her, "Don't give up. You never know what's around the corner." She didn't remember the name of that counselor, but it always made such a big impression on her, how much a counselor, a therapist, a person who can help someone along their way. And sometimes in the study of Buddhism, I find that people kind of take the mystery out of it. It's a very, philosophically, psychologically based kind of system, kind of scientific, and sometimes I've seen people sort of not stop believing in miracles or stop believing in, and it seems to me that they forget about one amazing miracle that's right in front of our noses, which is the mystery of being alive. The miracle and the mystery of just having consciousness. This is in itself. But when Marguerite would tell the stories of like Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead, or the story of the Good Samaritan, or turning water into wine, or the woman who touched the hem of Jesus' garment. You felt like you were there. I felt like I was there. Jesus turned, who touched the hem of my garment? It was your faith that healed you. And I said, I felt this, I believe it, And so this was something that was very nourishing for me. I'm not sure when she developed a great love for Judaism, but she did, and she knew she could recite poems in Hebrew. With her first husband, she actually wanted to have a spiritual Jewish relationship, but it turned out that he was only interested in keeping the letter of the ritual, keeping the plates separate, and wasn't that interested in really exploring it, so it didn't last. But at one point we heard that this Jewish renewal group up in Santa Cruz, who had this rabbi named Rabbi Eli, who was going to give a course on Kabbalah. I said, well, that sounds interesting, let's go to that. And she was surprised, really, you want to go? And so for weeks we went up there every week to hear the course. It was something called Counting the Omer, where you go through the different stations on that tree of the Kabbalah and train your mind. It was really incredible, and I was really happy to connect with all those people. I'm sure that Marguerite right now would appreciate a candle being lit in the Jewish tradition. She also, and like I say, in her faith, I came up with a new word for it lately. She was an allist. Because she was for everyone, and she appreciated and supported everyone's beliefs and religions. At one point, she came across the story of an Indian female saint named Anandamoyima. There's a picture of her and a book about her behind here. There was a story of how she had, with psychic ability, had just done this excursion into the night. She suddenly got up and went to the train, and the disciples were going, what are you doing? We're getting on this train. We're going to this station. They were saying, the train doesn't even stop at that station. And sure enough, they went there. They got off at that station. She walked to a house, and there was one of her students crying out for her desperately, calling to her. And Marguerite was just so impressed that she would know that she would just have the intuition, the clairvoyance, just go to where her student was desperately calling for her. She also received one time a hug from the hugging group, Amaji. You may have heard of her. This woman, there's a picture back here. I think this is going to all fall down. Right here. Who sits, and thousands of people come up to her and she hugs them. And they have experiences. And Marguerite had an amazing experience from that. She went into a kind of a meditation where it was spacious, and it was an amazing blessing for her. As I mentioned, she loved Ram Dass. She loved everyone, Muslims, every religion. Martin Luther King, she loved. Gandhi, she loved. She loved Barack Obama. I grew up during the Civil Rights Movement, and so I was kind of felt like I was for civil rights, and we had a cross burned in our yard once in the 60s. But Marguerite once physically integrated her student union of college. She was telling me this story, that everyone in the student union, all the whites were sitting on one side, all the blacks were sitting on the other side. Except for her boyfriend, who was on the white side. So she said to him, hey, let's go integrate the black side. And they went over to the other side. And I said, and she said, what? That was something, that meant something? I said, yes, that was amazing to me that you did that. I was just in awe of her qualities, her courage. And she would be surprised that I was impressed. Right towards the end, she had one black man who was coming to see her for therapy, who was himself a therapist, who was very effective with people because of what he'd been through. And they connected so deeply. She just had this, she got connected with people so deeply. That's where she really shined. There was one time I remember we were coming out of our house next door to Chennai's. We were sitting back there, and you know, I'd been trying to see if Marguerite could possibly get out for a few steps, you know, a little bit of a walk. You know, and then the driveway in front of her house is pretty steep, and so we started down this driveway, you know, and walking slowly down over the river, and turn, and then Janai's driveway is also pretty steep, and there's Janai coming down. I forget if you were Jason or whoever you were with at the time, but Marguerite saw Janai and started, you know, like walking up the driveway, and she just got energy from people, from connecting with people. That was what really energized her. I mean, it was transformation. Okay, so now I definitely want to ask everyone who's here who would like to say something to come up and say something. I have a number of different things. There was one of her, which I'll read some of these at the moment. There's a fellow named Bruce Bealey, who was one of her major relationships, who grew up on the farm with Jerry, or the famous farm, Stephen Gaskin. And he was a real live wire. He was like, Marguerite said, he's like the Energizer Bunny on steroids. So, and they really sparked each other off in that way. They both had a lot of enthusiasm. So he wrote something because he couldn't make it down. Marguerite Dean has been a rare gem, sparkling grace from so many facets. I first met Marguerite when she jumped into the aisle in a posh restaurant with another enthusiastic singer and blasted into a musical duet to the lively tune Java Jive, complete with sassy characteristics. I was sharing dinner with a theater group after the opening night of our play here in Nevada City. I soon found out that Marguerite had performed with this group before and invited her to the upcoming cast party at my home. So one of the most enjoyable highlights of Marguerite's life was starring for a long run in Narnia as the White Snow Queen in Nevada City. For a while she was like the big star there, everybody recognized her. And the kids said, oh, that's her. And another great thing about her relationship with Bruce is that Bruce had 2 daughters, and he really respected Marguerite's knowledge in helping to bring up young people and in holistic kinds of diet areas. So that was a great thing. There was problems with the ex-wife. That's what made that thing come to an end finally. But so he continued. He says, it wasn't long before we wove our lives together, and her office moved to the downstairs of my home, where she led children's groups and therapy sessions, incorporated into artwork, sand tray therapy, theater, and more. Her innovative use of these easy, innocent childhood activities gave us windows into their inner workings and reflections for themselves. She had already co-created the local adoption agency and had a legacy of pioneering with the latest and most holistic methods of counseling on coping with life or made up her own. So she did co-found an adoption agency here in California. She got so much pleasure from her work and most everything she did. But her greatest joy in an outreach to community was in her singing. I met and sang with her sister and father, who sang in harmony and played piano any chance he got. They had grown up singing all the time. She and her sister knew so many songs and routines which they would perform every time they got together. Marguerite also sang in our church choir, and she was the shining star who could fill the cathedral with her powerful voice without any amplification. Then there was her passion for dance. I had never partner danced before, but that didn't slow her down. She had already done disco dance competition and confidently said, "Here, let me show you. You can do this," and proceeded to back lead me from the woman's following side until I could take the lead myself. That is no small task. We performed with song or dance at most every event we attended. I've been partner dancing from here to Buenos Aires since those days, and all because of her enthusiastic invitation. So it became his passion in life, his partner dancing, that she turned him on to. She was literally a fountain of joy for so many of the people she met. Although Marguerite moved out of this area, we stayed in touch, and a part of her travels with me always, as I hear her classic comments and songs echoing in my head and warming my heart. This is one gal who leaves a deep impression. And so they had a bad breakup, but then reconciled, and he actually wanted to get back together with her, but she was with someone else. But she also loved his parents. She connected so much with his parents, and that was one of the most painful things for her when they broke up. Not having that connection with the grandpa, grandma really anymore. Here's another remembrance from Pamela Crone, who just lived down the street. Remembrances of Marguerite. Marguerite was a good name for her. She was always in bloom, perky and bright yellow. Yellow, the color of radiance and hope. Yellow, the color of equanimity and wisdom. When she entered a room, her light shone on us all. She didn't miss anyone. Her brightness lit us, made us all want to bloom and show off our flowering, making life poignant and real. She saw things in a unique way, childlike and vibrant. I remember her smile as having a combination of an impish getting away with something and a soothing adult, everything will be fine, combined expression that intrigued me. I send you my love, Marguerite. I know you will be carrying on your work of love, your work of creating understanding, overcoming trauma, your work of bringing spirit to life and inspiring spirit in others. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, you'll be helping everyone around you. Bless you for your gifts of love, of hope, of love, and of light. Saraswati, embodiment of melodious sound that rings out to all. Who now feels inspired to want to say something, share something? Janai, please.
So good to be in the presence of people who know Marguerite. I just knew her as a neighbor, which is just so casual. Watch the dog occasionally, or say hello when she came home exhausted. And it's so interesting to me that, I just got the tease of sharing, we both liked Rumi and Hafiz, and we mentioned it, but I didn't know the depth until I heard some poems and heard the depth of her love of poetry. And I saw her guitar at home, and I'd come over, but I didn't know the depth of musicality that you guys enjoyed. And what was remarkable for me, besides just having a nice neighbor and someone to say hello to, is, I was looking at a career change, and I saw her, the depth of work that she did. I was thinking of going to CIS and maybe asking her to write a letter. And we commiserated over how difficult healthcare is right now, and to have such love and skill and get paid so little for the most important work. That was kind of a brutal topic to share, but her devotion was above. She rose above all that. I was a pharmacist for 20 years, and I just couldn't take it anymore, the insurance and all that. But she stayed in the trenches, and I really admired her. And so of all the beauty that you guys have shared about her, with the depth of poetry and her work and all that, kind of what was most interesting for me was her love for you, David. And when you were away working, she might, ask a favor or something. Oh, my David, he's gone. I miss him so much. And I thought, Oh yeah, David's a cool dude. What is it? That definitely made me look more like, who is this David? He's a cool guy. Because it was remarkable how much he loved you, amidst all the other stuff she had going. And so I feel like, a person is like a buffet, you try to get to know them. And I know her, and she's coming home from work and exhausted and wants to chill, and we just wait, right? So I just got the French fries if she was a buffet. I just got, some snacks here and there. And but after hearing everything, I'm so blessed that I got to be her neighbor. And the gift that I got from her most, besides, love and a good neighbor, is you, man. So, thank you. Nice to meet everybody who loved her. She was a special gal. Thank you.
Thank you. I felt it's my great good fortune to be loved. Definitely.
Name, please.
Well, you're gonna do something.
Does anyone have a lighter in the London? A lighter? I knew David before I knew Marguerite, and I think I was going to David's house. Actually, I met Marguerite on that morning glory one time, and Ritzy and her other dog, and felt this enormous presence, and was just automatically really grateful that if she knew David, then she's amazing. So as time went on, I was getting Dharma teachings at Marguerite's house, and I would give massages to both of them, and would just sit and watch these two snuggle and sing, and she'd summon David to run to this part of the house and summon him to go to that part of the house. And he would. Just so exciting to be around this bubbling goddess and seeing goddesses all around her. But one of the sweetest things, one was she showed me Ananda, and it transformed my life, and it's still my background. And I met her the most, though, when she passed away, which was really interesting. Getting to know the deeper layers and helping David clean out the house. All of this is hers. I got all these really goddess clothes, and we went through really, really sexy lingerie, which was I saw her as a therapist, and it was just a different light of all the layers of her love and how poetic she made love and could dress love and express it without failing to embody the love, no matter what the shirt or clothes or whatever was. That was really special, actually, to be a part of the cleaning up process and saying goodbye to things and watching them go out in the trucks and seeing the house get cleaner and simpler. And David and I would look at each thing and I'd be like, well, this might look good on you, and we'd try on her clothes. So yeah, I just really am grateful that I got to sit and have dinner with her. I wanted to, I made a poem, this poem, watching the sunset after I was cleaning the house up. because it was a hard transition. It was like really quick that she passed, and then we had like a couple, like a chunk of time to get everything moved. So when I was like in the house, it was like really challenging to cry and to really allow the grieving. So when I got home, I went to the sunset and just sobbed and wrote this poem, Burning Sage, and thinking about the layers of her, and I couldn't contain it. I was alone, so I just wrote this poem. And when I left, I found a hawk feather right outside my door, so I called David. Cycles of grief replenish the rivers of love in my soul. Mama feels the coming and going of all her children deep within the womb of life and death. The heart of awareness is gentle, stirring the pot of liquid love smoothly and slowly as sage walks around the hawk feather pointed to the ocean, the west. Sweet, sweet memory of a singing and dancing, whirling, blissful goddess delicately awakened, while the sun warms my bones. Like a slideshow, her wisdom she passed on plays kindly, like she's here now hugging my old soul. Honoring the light and praying for every soul is the vision, is the essence of interconnectedness. I have gratitude again and again for timeless nature and time spent understanding our true nature in one love. Your body will be missed, beloved Marguerite. Your soul's mandala is a part of me, and together there is deep healing, wisdom, and love. I love you. Thank you so much for dedicating your life in this embodiment to the alleviation of suffering, for blessing our ears with your most incredible medicine songs and belly laughs, and for being a guide for so many of us. Om Shri Saraswati Devi Siddhi.
then at the very end, she did smile and look and see what she could find out. Here, kiss this one. She was done so that she could relax and now not have to worry about getting everything right. I think this should be clay, please.
Hey, all lovers of Marguerite.
Not sure.
No, good. Yeah, last time I was down this way, she was here. Yeah, it's really hard to think I'm not going to see her anymore. So, yeah, I was thinking back, I've known her for like 23 years. And for a short time, I was her boyfriend. And actually, I was going to come down with the one before that, who I got to know, still know now. He's a friend of mine, Aaron. Unfortunately, he got food poisoning last night. It was not able to come. But I have enjoyed her as a friend all these years. I've seen her through, one of her longtime partners. I had to inform Aaron, and I had to inform Tom. She was a longtime partner up in Healdsburg, and he sends his best love. Best of Aaron. I've seen her grow over the years, and I just really want to express my appreciation that she found David. I mean, deep appreciation. Because she was looking for the relationship that she had with you for a long time prior to her knowing you. And that she got that. And that, as painful as it was, you held her through her transition. It's like, I'm so deeply grateful to you for being here for her. I'm sorry, brother, that you had to lose it. Certainly glad she was in my life.
I'm really deeply loved clay. There's a couple more I better read here just for these people because there was one woman named Lainey who was very, very close, probably Marguerite's best friend for a number of years. And then over some kind of misunderstanding, they parted ways. And it was one of the most painful things in Marguerite's life. And I'm really sorry that this message didn't come through before Marguerite left. Dearest Reedy, thank you for the many years of wonderful, deep friendship we shared. Thank you for your big heart, for all the joy, fun, and music you brought into my life. I miss your laughter and outrageous playfulness. I miss singing with you and your amazing voice. I'm so sorry that I needed to part ways with you. It was painful for me, as I know as it was for you. Please know that I never stopped loving you. I love you very deeply, and I always will. You left this earth plane way too soon. Wherever you are, may you be surrounded by tremendous light and so much love. Thank you for sending me the gorgeous butterflies. Your song will always be in my heart. Marguerite did have a special affinity with butterflies. She had this big wall hanging of a butterfly goddess. And there's been a number of times that her sister Therese and I also felt like we've been getting special messages from butterflies acting strangely. And then there's another person I definitely need to read his, because this fellow, Marguerite, had gone tremendously out of her way to help him have visitation rights with his kids. It was like driving up to Oregon, I think. And then plus, as he explains here, they had to go to place. His name was Pat Burns. When I think of Marguerite Dean in my mind, I see a person with rare qualities: compassion, humor, understanding, wisdom, and above all, love. Love of people, of animals, of children. Love of the open skies and forests. Really love the outdoors, natural, unspoiled, clean and fresh. Reedy was one of my best friends, more like a close sister. There was once a brother and sister who lived in Napa. Reedy was engaged to be married to the brother. I was engaged to be married to the sister. Nobody married anybody, but out of this slightly zany situation, a lasting relationship was born between Reedy and me. And so she called him her brother outlaw. Since they never made anything legal. Oh yes, add loyal to Reedy's list of qualities. Even when I wasn't at my best, Reedy still loved me and believed in me. I thought I wrote that. I wrote he wrote that. If Reedy knew you, she cared so much about you she could and would see deep into your soul so she could understand you. When the 3D movie Avatar was released, Reedy invited me to see it with her. In the movie, Neytiri bonds with Jake Sully and searches deep into his soul to find the true person he is. When she does, Neytiri tells Jake, "I see you." Reedy, though you are absent from our present time and space, the bonds of those who you loved and who love you are unbroken. We see you, Reedy. Some more pictures. Pass that one on. So I had this idea as part of Marguerite's love for dancing. She loves doing contra dancing. And maybe at some point later on, after we've had a little food, we can think of if we want to do a circle dance or a line dancing, which I would provide some fiddle music for. But I think for the formal conclusion of our celebration, I'd like to ask Cher to bring that poem, number 111, as I bring some of Marguerite's ashes out into the front here and sprinkle some of them in the Big Sur where she lives.
Called home. Grief casts a shadow on the worn linoleum floor, but there's sunshine all around and yellow daffodils in my yard. A vision emerges forsaken compost of decaying dreams amidst a graveyard with memory tombstones that mark the dead. New growth rises from the ashes of failed pursuits. This dream feels finer and truer than the rest and brings a fullness of content that radiates comfort head to soul. A lifetime of seeking for my place has revealed that home is living in my truth. May you and Marguerite always feel the bliss of knowing you are home.
Thank you all so much for coming. And so we'll bring out food, and then for anyone who doesn't have to get going soon, quickly, we should. Some further remembrances of Marguerite. Her good friend Mary Lounsbury said, I met Marguerite when she worked at Chomp, Community Hospital of the Monterey Peninsula. She was such a bright light, full of joy, laughter, and spirituality. I was impressed how she could work so well with hyperactive children. She was an amazing therapist and musician. She was very happy with you, David. I believe you were her soulmate. Have a beautiful celebration of life. I'm sorry I'm unable to come. I hope you feel great love and support. And her friend Rose Bourgeois wrote, I shared a magical week with Marguerite in June at beautiful Asilomar on the coast near Monterey. Theoretically, we were there for training, but with half the day and our evenings free, we spent many an hour on the beach, in the dunes, and playing in the beauty surrounding us. Marguerite drank it up. She loved to laugh and had no problem letting her inner child out to play. She entertained us on piano and with her theatrical voice. She even led me in spontaneously serenading the dining room with a Joni Mitchell song we both loved. Our wonderfully goofy group, including Marguerite, Parizod, and Adrian, went down to the beach to howl at the full moon on our last night there. She was indeed a joyful presence, a great therapist, and a dear friend. I feel sad at her passing, but I also feel blessed to have gotten to be with her for our brief moments in time. May she rest in peace. I also want to express deep gratitude to our dear friend and neighbor, Kate de la Fuente, for the wonderful flowers that she offered on the occasion of our physically saying farewell to Marguerite. And her reminder that Marguerite had told her that her favorite story when she was little was the little engine that could. That humble little train engine that managed to carry the presents over the top of the mountain for all the boys and girls, even when the important big trains said they didn't have time to do it. And that inner confidence to be able to do something which she always encouraged others to have. And gratitude to our great friends Steve and Lori for their hospitality at critical stages and great kindness and appreciation of the Easter egg hunt that Marguerite organized when we visited. Marguerite really did like to celebrate. She never passed up a holiday or a birthday without putting the utmost energy into it. So thank you, Steve and Lori, for your appreciation of that Easter celebration.
Those naughty hips, just keep your eyes on the hand. Remember, she's telling a story to you. If her opal is swaying, well, I don't watch the view. Don't concentrate and swing, 'cause fella, it doesn't mean a thing, no sir. Just keep your eyes on her hands. And when she goes around the island, swinging those hips so tantalizing, here now, keep your eyes where they belong. For the hula has a feeling that will send your senses reeling. It makes a weak man strong. Your eyes are revealing, you're fooling no one. No use in concealing, you're having some fun. But if you're too young to date, or overnight